Welcome to All Things Possible TV. We're excited to have you here, and I'm thrilled to have a guest be able to talk about her business and the things that we do. Today's episode, we're featuring Heidi Totten, and it is how to rock your technology through launching women. Launching women is your business, and I am so excited. She is the technology queen. She knows how to put it all together, how to connect that social media, do the marketing, and all of that together and make business really rock. So today we're just going to jump in and get started.
Great.
And let them know. So welcome to the show, Heidi.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I love being up here. Kris lives up in the mountains, and I've lived around here for 10 years and was just telling her I didn't even know this existed. So it's fun to be up here and to hang out with you.
That's a pretty common thing. People come and they're like, you really are in the mountains. So yeah. I do love the mountains. So. Yeah. But welcome, it's so exciting. Launching Women, that you are the owner and founder, and Launching Women is fantastic. Why don't you tell them a little bit about what Launching Women is about, how that came to be, and some of the things that you specialize in.
Okay. Well, you know, what was interesting is that I actually came up with the idea almost 4 years ago, bought the domain, got things started, and then just shelved it. You know how we do that. We just come up with ideas and then we shelf them. And then last year, I thought, you know, I still really like that. I still kind of want to use it. I started getting a lot of people, well, actually, Ann Webb, I think you had her on your show.
We have interviewed Ann Webb.
You have interviewed Ann Webb. So I was at her house for one of her Ideal Life Vision workshops. And she said to me after the workshop, I want you to figure out what you want to do, and I want to hire you to do it for me. Really? Okay. So
that's funny because that is so Ann Webb.
Yes. What do you do, and how can it help me? And so I guess it was a few weeks later, she called me and she said, okay, I'm coming over Thursday, and I want access to your brain. Well, I have 15 years of experience in technical recruiting, so I've worked in technology for a long time. I mean, a decade and a half. And I kind of was in this perfect storm because I didn't get married until I was 30, and I lived on the East Coast, so I got involved with technology. And so really it was like, that's obvious. You know, I've always had that mindset. And so Ann came over, and for 2.5 hours, we just dug into her business, and she walked away and launched a whole program that was highly successful.
It was huge.
It was huge.
She'd been in business and been very successful before that, and she did this little tricky little boop, and it was phenomenal. It was a fantastic program and incredible money. And I, at that point, that's when I kind of got to know you and could see the difference that Heidi had made for Ann. And went, wow, like Ann's been doing this a long time and been very successful, and then boom. And really, as a woman that's an entrepreneur and have been a woman entrepreneur for many years, technology is my piece that is not connected.
Yes.
I can do this and I can do that, and then, you know, the calendar gets all screwed up and the stuff doesn't work, and you're trying to do an Android and an Apple, and
that's where it all shuts down.
I totally lose it because it doesn't come together, and then I'm frustrated and I get behind, and you do these
fast tracks.
I'm like, you do a fast track that you come in and just connect things, and you can even do that online for someone who's not local. So tell us about some of the things that Launching Women does.
Well, my main piece is the fast track session, because before I work with anyone, I want to get in their business. I want to be right in there. And so when we sit down, we literally take a few hours, and I walk my clients through a process. We start with the big picture because that's always important. I want to know, you know, what you want to do and what you want to accomplish, and then we shift into the story. Because if I don't know their story and the why behind how they got into it, like I know your story. You know, I've heard your story. So So sitting down with you, I would start with, okay, it would shorten the learning curve, obviously, because I know your story. But then we get into the core of your business. And what I told Anne was, when I walk in the front door of your storefront, I mean, her business is mostly online, but when I walk in your front door, what's the first thing I'm supposed to do? I know what to do at the Gap. I go look for the women's clothes. So you need to guide me through that, and that requires technology. So once I build out the core, do they want to do events? Do they want to do digital online content? Do they want to, hold just masterminds and small group coaching? Right. Once I get that piece, then I say, okay, let's build out the sequence and the underlying technology to support that. So it could mean building out autoresponders. I don't know, when I am in that moment, I just see things. I see the little pieces and I access my brain and all of the things that I've learned, and I say, this is what you should do. And that's usually when somebody has that that aha moment. That aha moment. I was doing a fast track with Lori Barland, who's the managing director of the eWomen Network chapter here, and there was that moment where she gasped and she said, "You're magical." And that's when I know that's when it's worth it. That's when I know when I've hit the mark, that I basically become their strategic partner. And that is so valuable, because often entrepreneurs will go through an entire coaching program and they'll still be shut down. They'll still be like, I'm overwhelmed, I still don't know what to do. And so I can come in and I can say, boom. And it builds it out for 3 to 6 months, and then they're on their way. And I have people come back to me for a second session in 3 to 6 months, and we build out the next piece. So I really love getting in people's business. That's what I really love.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And we have even talked and gotten different ideas, different strategies. One of the things that I loved is that you have several specialties. Mm-hmm. There's Infusionsoft, and didn't you just get back from Infusionsoft's training? So
I did Infusionsoft training in February. That was pretty amazing. It was really,
Infusionsoft is a great tool. Mm-hmm. It's not the only tool out there.
No.
But the fact that you know how to do several of the pieces that are out there and that are available, and can put all those pieces together is phenomenal.
Well, and I particularly like to focus on the technology that entrepreneurs use. I mean, entrepreneurs don't need a website that's based in Java. They don't need these big complicated things. Sometimes they really just need a landing page, and then how do we do a landing page? So sometimes it's just small things, and often I just take what you already have and say, okay, let's use it more efficiently. So I'm not telling people to start from scratch with their technology and saying, here are the pieces we could add to it, here's what you need to get rid of, it's not serving you.
Well, and the other piece is that you have so much knowledge. It's good to know you're not ready for Infusionsoft right now. It's not ready for that investment of $200 and something a month.
Yeah.
In your back office.
Sometimes MailChimp is all you need.
Right. Yeah. And the fact that you have the expertise, you're able to help these women entrepreneurs and business owners really push forward and have the right piece that they need. And there's always that, am I in the wrong piece? Do I need to transfer to something else? Is there something better that would be more functional?
Absolutely. And honestly, sometimes, I work with a lot of startup women in business, so they're really just launching, hence the name Launching Women. I actually had an idea a long time ago to do a reality series where I followed women in business to see how their business grew. Some people, they've been in business for a little while and they're just they're paralyzed. You hit that roadblock.
Right.
One person that I was working with, we mapped out his entire sequence, and I said, what's this program right here? He said, I don't really like to do it, and I don't really offer it, and it doesn't serve people. And I literally just picked up the piece of paper and I threw it out, and I said, then let's not do it. And then we pushed the sequence together, and it was like, that makes a lot more sense. But in his mind, he was putting that as a stepping stone, even though he didn't like it. He didn't even like to offer it. So sometimes it helps to have other eyes on your business and just really get in there and tell you what to do.
Right, exactly. And that's the whole key, is having other eyes that have the professional knowledge as well as the ability to connect things and be like, okay, so you're missing this link. I know when I was changing over from AWeber to Infusionsoft in my business, there was like, okay, so what am I getting here, and what am I going to have here?
And we had those discussions.
And
yeah.
Is it worth it now? Is it not worth it? You know, and those can be key conversations where you walk into the store, and of course Infusionsoft is going to say, yes, you need us right now.
Yes.
And you go in to get the software for this or that, and of course they're going to tell you, yes, you have to have this.
Yeah.
And so I love that you've got several options, you've got the knowledge in a lot of areas, and you're able to move them forward. The other piece that I really like is that you really have a business mindset.
Yes.
There's
a story there. There's a story there.
Tell us the story.
Well, like I said, I was in technical recruiting for 15 years, and about, I guess it was 2009, I started a recruiting company with 2 partners. Collectively, we had over 30 years of experience at that time. So you would think, oh, you know, we got in at the .com era. We were, you know, kind of the sacred cows of the recruiting industry, and we had worked in every industry you can imagine, for every company you can imagine. So we thought, this will be a piece of cake. The biggest problem is that none of us had really solid business experience. And so when it came to actually running the business, oh my word, there was just fighting and no, we should do this and we should do that and we should do this. And one of my partners was kind of the alpha of the group and that was fun. And so I walked away. I just said, we were making money, but at one point, one of my partners said to me, and I had 2 male partners, and he said, I don't think you should be taking a draw because you're not supporting a family.
Wow.
Yeah. And I mean, talk about shutting me down, because I believed it. Can you believe that? I believed it. And I mean, now that just seems so crazy, but I believed it when he said it. And so I said, okay, and I took a step back and I walked away from the company, and it was a few months later that I said, I will never be in that situation again where I don't know how to run a business. And so I got an education, and that was the biggest piece, was that I said, I need to know the nuts and bolts of business, and I have pretty much coached with every major business coach that you can think of, whether they're online or whether they're local. In fact, I don't have time to go through all the training that I buy.
Right.
I buy a lot of training, and I just, but it helps my clients now, because I shorten the learning curve because I go through the training for them. So if somebody says, oh, you know, I want to know what Brenda Burchard teaches on, or Jeff Walker, or Shalene Johnson, or Amy Porterfield, I'm the one that's going through that training in order to help them.
That's perfect and good to know. And I love that your example of having gone through that and believed what someone told you. I mean, we talk so much in All Things Possible about the belief system that we gain by what others tell us, that labels other people put on us, and it stops us. Yet we went through, and she and I were just talking about the episode of the Gifts in Our Garbage episode, that where you found the gift in that garbage.
Yes.
You were able to go, you know what, never again will it happen to me, and I won't allow it, and this is what I'm going to do, and huge gift.
It was a huge gift. You know, I don't regret that experience, and I made a lot of connections, and I knew, I attended an event in 2010, so, oh my word, four years ago almost, and it was my first kind of entrepreneur, you know, like the new entrepreneur event, where it got more into mindset. And so that was kind of the problem too, is that I was so fascinated by that whole experience that as I was starting this other business, I was like, this seems boring, you know, like this just doesn't fit. And so even though, you know, when we're looking at our passion and the thing that we can really help people, I mean, 15 years of experience in technical recruiting, absolutely that helps my clients now.
Exactly.
It really does. And it gave me the mindset for being able to learn technology. And so I don't regret any path along the way. Every single job, every single client I've worked with, I've been able to learn such a valuable skill that serves others now. So it really has been just a really fun journey. And I've crashed and burned. And I've, you know, and I've had a lot of success, so.
And you know what, they say that unless you have crashed and burned, unless you've had those different pivotal moments in your life, you aren't successful. And
That's true.
if you do look at the top successful people in almost everything, they've crashed and burned. And I was at Tony Robbins, and just listening to some of the stories and some of the different things, it does make you realize that these really big, powerful people that we look and go, wow, that would be so awesome. They've crashed and burned too, and that's how they overcame it, and they learned from it, they learned the lessons, and they moved forward.
Absolutely.
So that's perfect.
Just the biggest piece. Whether it's technology, whether it's mental, emotional, physical, whatever you're going through in your life, it's overcoming those hurdles. That's the learning experience. That's the joy. You know, it's not even the success. Having success is just the end result, but the journey is where the real joy is, and the learning and the love of learning really comes into play.
Right, and that joy in the journey.
Yeah.
We say that a lot. Joy in the journey.
Journey.
You've got to find the joy, because ultimately we can let it overtake us.
Yes.
We can go into depression and frustration and overwhelm easily, especially as women.
Yeah.
And I love that you have your businesses launching women, and yet one of your examples you used was a man that she just recently helped.
Yeah.
So we definitely do launching women, but that's not all you do.
No, I have a few men that I've worked with. I mostly work with speakers, trainers, authors, coaches. They aren't technical. I mean, there's a huge gap.
Hence, speaker, trainer, and
trainer. Yeah. They're not the technical people. That's not where their skills have risen to the top. And so as I've worked with photographers too.
Right.
I've worked with all sorts of people, but really the people that benefit the most from what I do are going to be people in that arena, because I understand what they're trying to accomplish. So even if you come to me and you say, okay, here's my big picture, and I don't know you, I can guess if you're a speaker, trainer, coach, or author, the movement is what you're trying to accomplish, more so than necessarily the end result of X amount of dollars. Interestingly, we go through a revenue model in the process, and I had one client who said, well, I really want to work 10 to 15 hours a week. Okay, great. How much revenue do you want to bring in? $100,000. Okay, so
10 hours a week.
10 hours a week. In those 2 hours per day, can you generate $416 per day? And she said, well, no. And I said, that's $100,000. It's all about the numbers. And so just shifting that mindset a little bit, we were able to create products that actually would allow her to achieve those revenue goals in 10 hours a week. It was just going to take different products.
Right.
So that's what I mean, is that when I work with speakers, trainers, and coaches, I know what products they can create. I know what they can offer, and so I can shift the model around so that can be really beneficial for them.
Well, and then you have the numbers brain.
Yeah. Oh, the numbers brain has been developed. Like I mean, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when I first started coaching with business coaches, I was as flighty as you could come. In fact, I kind of joke that I've migrated to a shapeshifter. I'm not really a warrior, a visionary, whatever terminology, whatever types, if you want to use Carol Tuttle's, whatever personality you want to do, I can just sort of morph based on who I'm with and what they need, and that has been hugely valuable to me. So the numbers is probably my biggest weakness, but I can divide 100,000 by 365.
Well, and just the fact that you have the knowledge of like, okay, so let's make it realistic, and let's put an actual let's put a pencil to it and let's go, is this realistic? And if that's what you want to do, if all you want to do is work 10 hours, there's a lot of ways to make $100,000 in 10 hours a week. There really is.
Yeah.
And speakers make that.
Yes.
They're on stage for a couple hours. Yeah, it takes a couple days travel here and there every week and stuff like that. But they do make that kind of money easily. But it does take someone that's going to take the mindset of like, okay, so what do you offer? How many times are you speaking?
Yes.
Where is it in your calendar? How do we schedule you more? What marketing do we need? What back end do we need to nourish your network and to keep track of all of the stuff? And that's where you come in, is that...
Yes, and I call that the 20-mile march, which I teach. It's not my original stuff. It's Jim Collins via John Rogers. I've learned it from several different sources, but the 20-mile march is basically what you're doing every single day to move your business forward, because we have a tendency to kind of get oh my gosh, I'm going to do all of this. And we run, and then we get burnt out. And then we're like flatlined, and we say, I don't want to do anything in my business. I'm so burnt out. Instead of just those consistent things every day to build so that you're managing your business. And when I can show people that and I can map that out for them, and somebody says to me they want to work 10 hours a week, I say, okay, let's build out your calendar and look at when marketing will take place, when sales calls will take place, because you have to protect that time. Otherwise, you're on Facebook. You're just doing the busy work. You're not actually working on your business. You're just getting lost in the mix of networking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and I say this quote constantly. I tell my clients all the time, it's the little things that we do on a consistent basis that ultimately change our life.
Yes.
And you've heard me say it probably in 20 of the 35 videos are up, that it is those little things that we do consistently to build what we want.
Yes.
Whether it's changing our diet, changing our life with our relationships or our business. And in all those areas, if we will do those baby steps and those little things and consistently set it up, be organized about it, it really can make the biggest difference.
Well, and like you said, when you're talking about health and when you're talking about your business and your family, I homeschool my 2 kids. So I throw that in the mix. So if I'm trying to manage all these different things, I have to have a solid system and a 20-mile march in place. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. It really won't. And so as I teach my kids the same thing, you do a math lesson every day. You do a language arts lesson every day. You read, X amount of well, I don't have to tell them to read. They're just reading geeks. So I don't have to worry about that. But when I tell them, I have readers. It's great. So when I tell them, like, these are the things that every day will move you forward in your education, then it's like, oh, I don't have to, and I teach moms that as well, who homeschool. I say, you don't have to plan out the curriculum for the year. Just plan out the steps that you want to take every day and find a good system. And when you find a good system, that makes all the difference.
Right, and you are in the process of possibly creating something for that with the...
Yes, there is a huge influx of homeschooling is up. I actually heard this stat on Monday. Homeschooling has increased 25% in Utah County. Which is huge. So there is a big influx of moms who run a business, run a family, and also want to homeschool. They're all kind of freaking out. And I'm watching this happen on Facebook, and I'm thinking, I've been doing that for 2 years. So, and business idea. So I'm tweaking the system that I've used in order to help moms balance that. And I use balance. It's really harmony. When do you want to work on these different things? And understanding what role they need to play. Because especially when moms first start to homeschool, they set up their house like it's a schoolroom. And then within a few months, the kids are doing their math on the couch and nobody's sitting at the pretty little desks with the, stuff hanging on the wall, and nobody cares.
And nobody cares if the wall's red.
And they really don't. They really don't. But that's how everybody starts is, oh my gosh, I need all this stuff. And really, when you pare that back and you just find a really good system, and that's why I thought I have that to offer. I've used my system for business to homeschool my kids for 2 years. I said, oh, this will work. So, and it teaches them a system as well, which is huge.
And that really is the biggest piece. When we learn how to put a system in place and follow the system and be consistent, we are more successful.
Absolutely.
And for years we've had this, if you're a musician and you do this, you learn better, you do all these things, you have better grades. And it comes down to every day they practice the piano. Every day they take these little steps that create their brain to be more functionable.
Yes.
For them to access more of their brain and to do more things. It's not that you can't be that intelligent if you don't play an instrument.
Yes.
But they've learned a system. They've learned how to create and be the best that they can be. It's the same thing with what you're talking about. And I love the fact that you've been able to implement your Launching Women and how you do business and how you can see somebody's business and put your regular everyday life, which includes homeschool, into it and teach it to your children.
Well, that's the number one question I get is, you homeschool? How do you do that and everything else you do? And I'm like, because I have a system. You know, if I didn't, I don't know how I would do the things that I do.
Right.
I mean, my dryer broke down this morning and backed up laundry, and I was like, okay. Can't do the 20-mile march for laundry. Yeah. So there's always those little things, but at the same time, I had planned that for this morning. I knew I was coming here. I was like, I've got to get some laundry done. I've got to get some cooking done. I've got to get, you know, those pieces in place. So I block out the time for that and kind of keep that as protected space. Now, am I perfect at it? No. If a client calls and says, hey, can I do a fast track? And it's during that time, I'm like, yeah. You know, I mean, money trumps laundry. So,
every time.
Every time. So
every time.
Yeah. So,
especially because those children should learn how to do laundry anyway, right?
Well, that was why the dryer broke. We're having some laundry lessons this week, but yeah, I mean, really, you know, when you honestly, people can only really accomplish a few really major things in a day. You know, they really, otherwise they get overwhelmed. So if you have a laundry list of 25 things, you know, let yourself,
it's not going to happen.
Let yourself be okay with things not happening and spread those 25 things over the entire week. Life isn't a race. You know, it's not about, we're not in competition with each other, especially for business. It's all about collaboration. It's all about who we need to serve. And what I found is that a lot of my clients, honestly, have come from other coaching programs where I just fill a niche that was not filled in that coaching program. So we all can benefit from each other's training and coaching, and it doesn't have to be just one person and one way of doing it. So,
well, and I love that. Tell people how they can get a hold of you. I want you to be able to get with Heidi and see what she has available on her Launching Women site. launchingwomen.com is your website.
Yes.
How could they email you? What's the best way they could contact you and get more information?
Well, I am really a let's talk about stuff type of person. So there is actually, you can sign up for a free consultation on my website. It's just right there, and the calendar is all integrated, and it's really simple. It's just a Pointlet. I think that's what I use.
Right.
I've tried a few different things. So you can go ahead and sign up, or just go and start reading my articles. I like to promote my clients over me. So if I do a fast track, I usually am telling the stories of fast tracks. And I put information about what we talked about in the fast track. So if that helps people as well, then that's great. But really, to reach me, the doorway to Launching Women is through having a fast track, and that can be either in business, or if you want to build out business in the homeschool, I'm adding that on because it's such a huge need right now. So
great.
Yeah.
So not if you want better things with your husband, right? But
no, that's not me. That's not me.
Fantastic family, fantastic life, very busy and yet very productive. So it's awesome to have you here with us on our show. And go to her website,
www.launchingwomen.com.
Perfect. Why don't you spell that for them? Because sometimes people don't know how to do that.
So LAUNCHING women, WMEN.com.
Perfect.
It's pretty easy to find.
Perfect. I just always want to make sure, and you can see it at the bottom of the screen. And come back again to our site and see all the things that you can see from the different videos. All Things Possible is about promoting other people that we really know are this mesh for us in business as well as in people's lives, and making change, making all things possible for everyone in all areas. So we love having guests, and we're so thrilled to be able to have shared Heidi with you today, Heidi Totten, and go check out her site, her website, and get your strategy session. That's a great thing. Also, there's strategy sessions, as you know, from my site as well at www.allthingspossible.biz, and we'd love to have you come join us, get your 7 traits for free, and start living your life with these 7 principles that can really ultimately change your life. So thanks for being with us, and we'll see you again next week on All Things Possible TV. Bye-bye.
Bye.